GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
The characters were so well sketched.
That's true.
You know, and it's a character like the so-called Gen Z can also relate to. I just said, let me follow what my director, Mr. Rakesh Roshan, asks me to do, and let me do what comes from within. And he left it to me. He said, Ameesha, jo naturally aata hai, aap karo.
They had already shot almost 5 to 7 days with Kareena Kapoor, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
She's also there in one of those scenes which fans
one
have spotted.
shot.
Yeah. Because they had to remove Kareena and then put you in the place. So when it came to you, how did you react?
So he said, how would you like to star in my film? I was like, huh? As what? He's saying, as the lead opposite Dugu. I was hardly 15, 16 years old. Rakesh uncle at that time told my dad that, you know, when I launch Dugu, I'm going to launch your daughter with him. She's so pretty and she's such a good dancer. And my father freaked out. He was like, no, no, no. Pinky auntie told me that Rakesh uncle didn't sleep all night. He said, I found my Sonia, and then Hrithik told me I did this. For me, Hrithik is not a co-star, he's a buddy. Salman found out that, you know, we're having this show. He was completely certain that there'd be crazy pandemonium, and he actually gave Shera, his bodyguard, to us. People had gone and married me off to themselves with my picture, and suddenly I'd received, you know, letters saying, you're my wife, and there's a Mangal Sutra in my neck in the picture, and there's Sindoor and all, and they put the pictures in the temple, they've gone and married. It doesn't happen now. You don't see that happening. I think had an argument with Rakesh uncle, and Rakesh uncle never packs up shoot because unko time, money ki bahut ahmiyat hai, and every day that you waste is a lot of money. And suddenly Rakesh uncle says, "Shut up!"
I must have watched Kaho Naa Pyaar Hai over 30 times. But this was the first time I watched it on the big screen. And the experience was magnetic. I watched it on Sunday afternoon with people my age, people younger than me, people older than me. And everybody was cheering and hooting for every scene. And my God, Sonia seems so much more relatable today because you have been an icon. Ameesha Patel joined me for a conversation only on Galatta India, and I can't be happier. How have you been?
Couldn't be better, Nayandeep, and always a pleasure to see you. I remember the last time we met in Sri Lanka, we actually danced to Kaho Naa Pyaar Hai. I made a reel, you showed me your reels you'd done on the beach.
And the same island that you
at
guys...
the Fifi Islands there, exactly the same location. And you know, it's like full circle. Here we are. You watched it, the re-release. We've all watched it and recreated the magic, and we're doing an interview because of that now again.
Do you even feel that it's been 25 years? It feels like...
just yesterday.
Yeah, I did.
And you know what's so vibrant about timeless films like Kaho Naa Pyaar Hai? There are reasons why they become cults, iconic films, are because they're so relatable till today. Whether it was Raj and Rohit, whether it was Sonia, happy Sonia, bubbly Sonia, or the sad Sonia in the second half, the characters were so well sketched.
That's true.
You know, and it's a character like the so-called Gen Z can also relate to. It was a character that girls related to then too, copied the costumes, you know, wanted to be her. And I think the most beautiful part about Sonia was she was uninhibited. And there were no holes barred. She was what she was. She wasn't pretending.
Absolutely. You know, when you say Gen Z, a lot of people feel that the generation is a little pretentious. But when you look at Sonia, she is that person and she owns up and she's so authentic to being Sonia that you don't feel that she's acting or pretending.
I wasn't pretending. You know,
but that's not you at all.
That was not me at all in real life. I was, yes, a college kid just like Sonia. I was bubbly, came from a good family, etc. But I didn't have that, you know, like those things on the beach where she says, "Tum ek sundar akeli ladki ka fayda utane chale." She's happy to compliment herself and do all that. She's like no holes barred, you know. And I think that's what made the character so lovable and likable. And then, but you see her genuineness.
Absolutely.
She did not care that the boy she fell in love with was not wealthy. She stood for love. She fought for love till the end. You know, and when she lost her love in the first half, she was devastated. So that is the beauty of the character. And even the beauty of Hrithik's character is that he genuinely loved her in the first half. And in the second half, even that Hrithik as Raj was willing to do anything to give this girl her happiness back.
That's true. But I want to ask you this. Everybody talks about Hrithik Roshan's double role. But technically, you've also had a dual role, right, as Sonia in
Bilkul.
the first half and the second half.
yeah.
How did you manage that? Like, was it difficult at that point ever?
I was such a newbie, and like I went on set in 3 years. I mean, 3 days of signing the film, whereas Hrithik had sat on the script and he had loads of prep, and he was in tune with every dialogue and scene. And of course, coming from a film family, that's it's inbuilt. He'd seen the greats like Salman, Shah Rukh, Madhuri ji, and Amrish Puri ji, and all performing live in front of him. He'd assisted his dad. So for me, I think the way I treated my character was just do it with my heart. I have no prep. I've never been to an acting school. I have no dancing lessons in Bollywood. I'm a Bharatanatyam dancer. I had no diction classes. I had absolutely no filmy training.
That's true.
And Hrithik had been to Kishore Namit Kapoor and done all these things. But I just said, let me follow what my director, Mr. Rakesh Roshan, asks me to do, and let me do what comes from within. And he left it to me. He said, Ameesha, jo naturally aata hai, aap karo. And not one day did Hrithik ever let me feel, मैं producer director का बेटा हूँ, this is my launch pad or anything, which helped. We had such a good bond and friendship, touchwood till date, which we share.
Absolutely. We saw that.
Yeah.
We saw you in the Roshans.
Exactly. So we've got such a beautiful bond that nowhere did they make me feel that I'm any less. In fact, if there was a scene Hrithik needed help in, knowing I'm completely uneducated in cinema and I'm facing the camera for the first time, seeing that when Rakesh uncle used to say, right, I used to turn left because camera right and your right is different.
Yeah.
So he saw this, but still he'd come, he'd rehearse scenes with me, we'd talk about them, we'd sit with each other and discuss our costumes. He'd help me choose our costumes, I'd help him choose his. We do cute things like practice our autographs together.
Oh, wow.
Like Hrithik and I would, suddenly I'd go one day and I'd say, Hrithik, do you think this autograph works? He'd come with the other, do you think this works? And we'd tweak each other's autographs in the event that we ever needed to give them in case we became famous. So we've shared a very cute journey. For me, Hrithik is not a co-star, he's a buddy.
Absolutely. You've known him even before you actually came onto the set, right? Your father and Rakesh
we went
sir,
to school together.
Yeah, so it was always a given. But when it came to you, they had already shot almost 5 to 7 days with Kareena Kapoor, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
She's also there in one of those scenes which fans
one
have spotted.
shot.
Yeah. So when it came to you, how did you react? Because you were also going to just suddenly step into, because they had to remove Kareena and then put you in the place.
So see, I was not versed with the film industry at all. I never read tabloids. No film magazine like a Stardust, Cineblitz, Filmfare ever came to the house. We had Economic Times in India Today, and we had all business magazines coming. So I was not versed at all with film scandals, gossips, newses, whatever it is. So I had no clue what was happening. In fact, growing up, I was not allowed to watch films. I had to earn that, I was always made to focus on studying and,
And you were a very good student.
Yes, academically, I was always an honors student, head girl of cathedral. Then I went to America. I was an honors student, a grad in biotech, biogenetic engineering and economics. So my focus was very different. Like when I had to be given that screen time, it was those few films, Hollywood and Bollywood, like A Pretty Woman or A Dilwale or, whatever, when I was in university and stuff, where it was just that one film I was allowed to watch maybe on a weekend. But the main thing was extracurriculars, squash, badminton, swimming, Bharatanatyam, things like that. So I was completely devoid of any knowledge. And Hrithik and I didn't meet each other during that course of 3.5, 4 years when I went to America to study. And, sometimes they say destiny. So I was hardly 15, 16 years old. And Rakesh uncle and my dad and all of us were at a Sangeet. And the youngsters, like all of us were busy dancing and everything. And Rakesh uncle at that time told my dad that, when I launch Dugu, I'm going to launch your daughter with him. She's so pretty and she's such a good dancer. And my father freaked out. He was like, no, we come from a business and a political background. Ameesha is going to eventually go to either England or America to study. There's nothing on her radar where films are concerned. Cut to years later, he spots me at a wedding, Rakesh uncle, and I get a call the next day to come home with no knowledge that I'm going to be offered the film. I reluctantly go, by the way, with my mother to the house. I was like, dude, all the way from South Bombay to Juhu, that whole thing. And I just pulled out the first white t-shirt and pair of jeans, hair in a ponytail, devoid of any makeup, and I just went reluctantly. We had an absolutely normal lunch. And when it was around 3:34 and it was time to head back to town, Rakesh uncle said, so Meesha, what have you planned for your future? So I said, I don't know, maybe I'll go back to Boston to study. I'm already working in investment banking firm. Maybe I'll go, Morgan Stanley had offered me really good job and stuff like that to head them 10 days New York, 10 days London, 10 days India. So I said, I'm not decided yet. So he said, how would you like to star in my film? I was like, huh? As what? He's saying, as the lead opposite Dugu. And I had met Hrithik after years. He was this shy, thin, sweet little, very cute boy when he was growing up, but he had transformed into this Greek god, the name I gave him. And immediately I started calling him Pierce Brosnan. Because he had that very James Bond, Pierce Brosnan, lean face and very that international look. And I didn't know.
He was everything a star had to be.
And I was like, I didn't know I'm going to be Pierce's, debut love interest. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do it for a laugh and, take that chance. I had no clue. And Rakesh uncle already had the contract ready with my name and everything in the event if I said yes. I had not heard the story of Kaho Naa Pyaar Hai. I had nothing. I signed it. Then called my father at the office who said, are you crazy? You can't do this. How have you gone and done this without my knowledge? He nearly fell off his chair in the office. And I was like, Dad, it's one film, and he was at ease because it was Rakesh uncle. Though Rakesh uncle was his senior in school, but they knew each other really well.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, Rakesh uncle assured him, listen, don't be scared of this big bad world of Bollywood. Like you have these preconceived notions. It's family. She'll be under my wings and Pinky Auntie's wings, and I was like completely at ease. And then I asked Rakesh uncle, I said, okay, guess I will start in 6 months, 8 months, I'll have prep time. He said, no, we start in 3 days. The set is standing. I was like, what? And with your song, Jaaneman Jaaneman. And I was like, this is like crazy, So I just went with the flow.
I have to tell you, there's one complaint I have right now. Jaaneman Jaaneman is one of my most favorite songs of all time. If you go on my YouTube history, I must have watched it 50, 100, 200 times. But it's not there in the film. It's been cut from the film. I was very upset.
So, they cut it on the Friday, the film release. So what happened is, Jaaneman, they wanted to keep it as an added attraction if the film would do well. And of course, the responses started coming in with the first promo, our songs that they had accepted a new couple, at least with the music, and there was interest in our film. We, of course, didn't know that we were going to open to this blockbuster 100% opening worldwide, literally worldwide. So they cut the song on Friday and they put it back on the Monday as an added attraction, which brought the moviegoers back in again. So I was also hoping myself that I'd see it in the re-release. It's sad. Like, so many people ask me this question. Like, where was Jaaneman? Because it's such a cute teasing song when you're teasing.
Asha Ji's voice, you dancing, I think it's iconic. And it's also is a precursor to what happens next, which actually is basically why the film happens.
She teases him, gets jealous, that whole thing. So I really wish it was there too. It would have been a pleasure to see it on big screen again.
But I have to ask you, like, when you went on to do this film, 3 days, you said. Before that, Kareena had actually shot. So did Rakesh sir tell you that, we had shot and
no,
this
he
didn't
did.
work
He was
out?
very clear. He told me the issues also that were there and why. He was very clear cut. One thing about Rakesh uncle, he's a very transparent person. He doesn't make...
Honest.
He's very honest about where his work is concerned. That's his first priority. He's like blinkers on his eyelids. Literally, the winning goal is his focus. And he had told me, listen, we had Kareena on the film. These were the issues I went through. And, obviously we will reshoot whatever required with you. He was very clear cut about it. And I was like, it doesn't make me a difference. He had faith in me without taking an audition, without a screen test, literally just seeing me when I was 16 and then seeing me when I've come back from university at a wedding.
In that video, in our interview and in many other interviews, he said that the reason he called you for lunch was not to audition. Your audition was to see, he was checking how you guys are
Look
actually
together.
talking to each other and looking.
So I must tell you a very cute incident that happened. So Hrithik hadn't seen me in years either, right? Like obviously during that interim between my going into my higher studies and Hrithik going to Sydenham College, which was literally bang opposite my own house in South Bombay and stuff. Hrithik also changed. We transformed, right? From being these gawky teenagers and come into our own. We become young people. So I hadn't seen Hrithik in a bit and Hrithik hadn't seen me in a bit. So he just, I think, Rakesh uncle went and told Hrithik that I'm inviting her for lunch, which is all a pre-story I had no clue of. But Pinky auntie told me this later, that all night after he came back from the wedding, he said, I found my Sonia, I found my Sonia, I found my Sonia. Now she's coming for lunch tomorrow. So let's see. So Hrithik was sitting and my first words to him was like, listen, I really need to use a washroom. I've come all the way from South Bombay to Juhu. Where's the washroom? And Hrithik was like, just stumped. These are the first words I said to him. And I went to the washroom and Hrithik did this to his dad, and after I signed the film, Pinky auntie told me that Rakesh uncle didn't sleep all night. He said, I found my Sonia. And then Hrithik told me I did this. And he really loved the chemistry between both of us. And we looked really good together. And everyone who then saw our pictures when we did our first ever photo shoot, which the pictures came out on social media, they were like, at that time, they were like, wow, what chemistry, what a beautiful looking couple. Can there be a more perfect couple ever, So I think...
It was peak romance.
And
we were discussing, I think it's in the video, I'm going to show it to you. We've only looked at scenes and we're like, yeah, this was peak romance. Where are these movies right now? Why are they not
need
getting
to be
made?
In fact, so many people have come and told me during the course of this time, we went college days, we got proposed because Janet released and the film continued to run. So this was their Valentine Day. This was their husbands proposing to the girls, them going for their honeymoon back to Thailand where we had shot, doing the steps. And back in the day, there were no reels, there were nothing. They've just got memories of all this.
That's
just pictures, photographs. Kaho Naa Pyaar Hai themed weddings happened. Like, it really was the cutest, innocent theme. Romance at its peak, like you said.
When you talk about memories, I have a very fond memory attached to the movie. I spoke about this with Hrithik sir when we had that informal meeting. Back then, social media nahi tha, ye sab nahi tha. You get only to watch the trailer maybe of the songs on TV and then you go and watch a movie. And that time used to be like...
YouTube also.
Yeah, there's nothing. There was Silver Jubilee, Platinum Jubilee and Golden Jubilee.
All of them.
Like you've crossed 100 days and 200 days, right? And I remember, right after the movie release, a few weeks or few days after, you guys had done this show at the Netaji Indoor Stadium in Calcutta. I'm from Calcutta. We had gone there, and as a child, we had gone there to see the show. There was stampede, like we had to rush out. And when I told him that day, he also got reminded of that. He said that was the first show we did.
It was
in front of...
It was pandemonium. So Salman, was really fond of Hrithik and me and still is. And Salman had kind of been Hrithik's mentor to build his body and stuff. So when Salman found out that, we're having this show, he was completely certain that there'd be crazy pandemonium. And he actually gave Shera, his bodyguard, to us. And Shera accompanied us. And Shera, very recently on a flight to Dubai, with I was with Salman and all, they were going for the Dabang tour and I was going ahead to New York. And Shera reminded, he said, do you remember that show? I had to lift you and Hrithik. There were such stampedes. People were just trying to get a glance and touch you all, feel you all, like to feel whether you all are even real.
That's true.
And we had to pick you up and take you all from corners and little gullies where no one could chase you all. It was so crazy. And it was packed like it's a cricket stadium.
Yeah.
And it was a sold out bumper show and it was complete mayhem. I mean, it was crazy.
But what does it tell you? Because initially you said that you thought that I'm going to do this one film. Chalegi, nahi, chalegi. Matlab you had left it on luck. And then it changed both of your lives. Like, I think you both became overnight sensations. Everybody wanted to become Raj, Rohit and Sonia. Everybody wanted to be like you or just get a piece of you guys in their lives. Did you ever expect this?
No, you can never tell. Like, see, I knew...
It's never happened for...
It's never
a film with two debutants.
Never.
Never happened before, never happened after also.
Never. So And never that the film has still remained so current and loved, where it's transcended generations.
That's true.
People who have not even been born at that time still love the film and relate to it. So I used to always tell Hrithik one thing, that, Hrithik, for you, you know nothing more than films because this is where you've grown up. And I know business and economics because that is where I grew up, right? You always know your roots and what is handed down to you. So I said, forget me. I don't know what will become of me, but whether the film succeeds or not, and I had full faith. I used to always be the positive. I know it's going to be successful, and Rakesh Uncle's a great filmmaker. I always loved our music and everything. And I was like, Hrithik, you are a superstar irrespective.
I have to tell you something now. I'll show it to you. We know what the story is about, right? I've watched it multiple times. But when I watched it on screen, so I watched it with two of my friends who are like my sisters, and we all were like, and every time in the second half that you meet Raj and you think it is Rohit, I'm like, I've said this, I think in one of the videos, I'm going to have to check, but I'm genuinely saying this out aloud. Every time Sonia thinks that Hrithik is Rohit, that Raj is Rohit, I have thought that too when I watched it. I am like, यार होता है ना तब के जमाने में मूवी, मुझे तो लगता था कि चलो बह बह के चला गया होगा न्यूजीलैंड, याद
ये सब वापस आया होगा and in a new world.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but the acting was so pure that even people started believing that he could be.
They were convinced that maybe this could be
Raj. It was so good. I have to show you some videos from that day that we had gone to watch the movie. It starts off with these are people, and this is a normal show, okay? And we are like, Ameesha Patel, it's AMI, right? So Bhavna is telling me, Ameesha ka spelling galat.
No, it changed. That time it was I, yeah. I mean, this doesn't happen on titling of films. We haven't said it.
I'm having goosebumps right now. I'm telling you, it's an iconic film. Like, I'm telling you, there are...
How gorgeous did he look? For me, I love Hrithik in this soft boy era. He's too vulnerable, too cute, too relatable, too gorgeous, too perfect.
I want to know, as a young girl and as a young man, both of you was like, you guys redefined romance, right? Everybody, you know how Shah Rukh, Kajol, for the longest time, I used to feel that they will get married to each other, they are married to each other. Salman sir and Kareena Kapoor, I felt that as a child because we didn't know, we didn't have that access, right? How did you guys not ever feel? Did you guys never, like, you guys knew each other? How did you guys resist being in love with each other in real?
So I think we were just such good friends. Hrithik was already with Suzanne at that time. They had been dating for a couple of years. And as the film, released and became a bumper, Suzanne and Hrithik got married almost immediately, maybe in 3, 4, 6 months. And I cannot tell you the amount of heartbreak letters both Hrithik and I received. We used to have fan mail and stuff from all over the world, India, reaching our offices and homes, somehow getting the addresses and wanting autograph pictures and stuff. That was the time that,
absolutely,
that this happened. And they were like, but we want to see Sonia and Rohit married. We want to see them together. People were actually heartbroken that the real and real was not the same. And that's such a, beautiful feeling that they have loved the characters. They felt so real that they've placed them in their hearts that they feel this should be real life.
Yeah.
And that seldom happens. Very seldom do you take the names home with you. Do you live with the characters for so long? And you actually be like, kitni khoobsurat jodi inko saath bhi hona chahiye. Because the chemistry was so beautiful. And Hrithik and I got like thousands and thousands of proposals to get married to other people. Valentine's Day was like crazy. I got letters written in blood. And that was scary as well. Acha, people had gone and married me off to themselves with my picture, and suddenly I'd received, letters saying, you're my wife, and there's a Mangal Sutra in my neck in the picture, and there's Sindoor and all, and they've put the pictures in the temple, they've gone and married. It doesn't happen now. You don't see that happening. And vice versa for Hrithik. So the girls were heartbroken also when he got married. And loads of people were heartbroken that why are we not together?
That's true.
Because they've taken us so seriously as a couple.
They actually thought this is real.
This is real.
That's
they've taken us home with them. That, no, this is a couple.
I'm going to show you another one where unfortunately, we were in our seats and dancing. I hope I have that video. This is also another scene that this is an iconic scene. I'm telling you, every time Sonia thought that Raj is Rohit, I thought Raj is Rohit. And then he'll do that. I think it's
You know, it was one film till date. People remember the dialogues of Sonia and Raj. What they're going to, especially that island portion, like "मैं खाना पकाऊंगी, तुम ये खाऊंगी ये."
This is the second part, though.
Yeah.
This is there 2 times. You say this.
Yeah, this was very popular. And that rapta. So people used to split up. And actually, after the film released, I myself had genuinely never heard the word rapta till I started shooting for it, you know. And everybody was like, can you recreate rapta? Rapta. It was on every girl's mouth. And that pink skirt was in every school performance, people at fancy dresses, and Hrithik's that sheer ek pal ka jeena with the bandana. Yeah, exactly, ek pal ka jeena you've got on it. So people actually loved the clothes, and they became iconic.
Absolutely.
And we never tried. You know, like how now people say, I'll create a look so it should get popular. We didn't even know what a stylist was. We just wore what we thought was probably cute, appropriate, you know, at that time. And when people saw the film now, they're like, even the fashion feels so current. I have had so many calls saying, we're copying this, we're copying that, we're going to make this salwar kameez, we're going to make this skirt. Like 25 years later, people still want to dress
it
like
doesn't feel like 25 years. That's true.
It's timeless. It's really, by the grace of God, it's timeless.
You know, there's a part in the Roshans when they speak about Kaho Naa Pyaar Hai, and Pinky Roshan speaks about the challenges that they must have gone through. And then Hrithik Roshan comes on board and says that, you know, Pinky Roshan says that there have been so many arguments between Rakesh sir and Hrithik sir on the sets where they got annoyed at each other. And
I used to witness that.
How did you react?
I used to just be calm, and I used to understand, because obviously Hrithik came from a very different generation from Rakesh uncle. It was also, he's a very intelligent boy himself, and you know, he had his own thought processes. But like Rakesh uncle says in the Roshans, every creative fight or discussion led to the betterment of the film.
Yeah.
You know, and whether it was ultimately Hrithik's way or Rakesh uncle's way or anything, it was only for the betterment of the film.
Yeah.
You know, and creative discussions happen on every film.
What's the worst fight that you saw? During which scene?
Actually, this Ande wala scene. In the second half, when Hrithik, I think, had an argument with Rakesh uncle, and Rakesh uncle never packs up shoot, because unko time, money ki bahut ahmiyat hai, and every day that you waste is a lot of money. And suddenly, Rakesh uncle says, pack up! And we were like, oh my God, you know, and that had escalated. But it's normal. I think it happens on many sets. But of course, here it's a father, son, you know, and of course, they were going through a lot, you know, like you've heard, they had mortgaged everything. And so I think the pressure also was on, right?
Did you know that he had mortgaged his family, his house and his cars to make the movie?
Kuch during the course, I used to get to know a little. But Rakesh uncle is someone who's so stoic, and he will never bring the problems on a set. He will never let the actors know the issues, because he wants them to be focused and focused only on their work. And I think that's a great thing that I learned on my first film, that leave your problems at home and come disciplined to give your best in front of the camera. And this discipline has definitely come from Rakesh uncle.
Yes. But thank you so much to many, many more movies, many, many more conversations, and many, many more iconic moments. Thank you for always having us around and maybe talking to us.
Thank you. Pleasure, Nayandeep.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.